Ooh, welcome back to the Saturday Scholars College Football Podcast. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. That is Gonzo. That is Ann. That is Uncle Boomer. We have a guest. Today is the team draft. For those of y'all who watched our video last year and enjoyed that draft, we are going to do it again. This is the second annual Saturday Scholars College Football Team Draft. Are you guys ready? You guys excited?
You bet.
Let's get it. I'm not getting last this year, boys.
All right, so here are the ground rules for the team draft. We have 12 roster spots. It's just like regular fantasy football that everyone plays, except instead of drafting players, we are going to be drafting teams, and we are going to get points based on how our teams perform all season. So our roster spots, we have all Power 5 conferences. We have 3 Power 5 flex spots, 3 Group of 5 flex spots, a super flex spot, which makes 12 total, 4 teams each. That is 48 total picks that we are going to be covering today. And the scoring system, as you guys can see, each of our teams, they will get 1 point for an outright win during the regular season. And once we hit postseason play, we have extra points. Your team will get 1 point for making their respective conference championship game, 1 point for winning the conference championship game. So if they make the conference championship and win it, that's 2 points right there. Same thing for making a bowl game. Every team that we have that makes a bowl game, you get an extra point. And then you will get 2 points if your team makes the college football playoff, and then an extra 2 points for winning playoff games. So if you draft the national champion on your roster, they're going to give you 6 points for the playoff, 2 for making the playoff, 2 for winning the semis, and 2 for winning the national championship. Pretty straightforward. Our scoring system, we like it this year. We made a few changes, tweaks from last year, but I think we're ready to roll. So one last quirk here is that the super flex spot, as you can see, independents are only eligible for the super flex spot. So that opens the door for some roster strategy. Any other team, independents, G5, P5 can go in the super flex spot, but only independents can go in there. They can't go in anyone else. So I think we've covered the ground rules. You guys ready to get going?
Absolutely.
Let's get it.
All right, Gonzo. For the second year in a row, you have been assigned the number 1 overall pick. Who is going to Team Gonzo at number 1 overall?
It's a no-brainer. I'm taking the University of Georgia. Give me the Bulldogs.
UGA off the board. Yeah, that's about as no-brainer gets. Last year, I took Georgia at number 3 overall, and I rode them to a win last year. I won this little challenge last year, and it came down literally to the national championship game, which was incredible for how complex our scoring system was last year. And the fact that it came down literally to the national championship game, that just shows you how competitive this is. Like it's more likely than not going to be a competitive little challenge here. So that's awesome. Georgia off the board.
I remember you were disappointed to get Georgia at 3 because you wanted Bama.
Yep.
Yeah, old takes exposed on that one right there. All right, so now that Georgia's off the board, this is where I think that there's a pretty big tier drop off between UGA and the rest, at least in terms of points and safety. I think everyone out here you're at risk of losing some potential points in the postseason. But at number 2 overall, I am going to go with the Michigan Wolverines. Welcome
I'm
to
not
Team
shocked.
Shoob.
Good pick.
I'm not shocked. Yeah.
Hey, you guys know I've been riding Michigan. I think they are the best team in the Big Ten. I've been saying that consistently through all our preseason videos. And yeah, I'm not the most comfortable with this pick because I think they are vulnerable to Ohio State and Penn State. But I think that schedule, that regular season schedule, I mean, come on. Michigan's going to rack up some points. And hopefully they
Getting
win
at
the Big
least
Ten.
9, 10 easy free points.
So I just felt like Michigan, of these teams available, had the highest floor because of how easy their schedule is up until those last few games.
Yeah, those were my first 2 picks too. So I think we're all going along the same lines. Now, so it gets more difficult now because it's not obvious, I don't think, at least not to me. And that's why I am going to go based on schedule and how I think the team's going to perform. I'm going to go with Clemson out of the ACC.
Good pick.
That is a good pick.
All right. Team Boomer going with Clemson. Yeah, there's a lot of Florida State hype this year, but I think there's a equal and opposite reaction going back to Clemson here.
Yeah, I didn't think Florida State. Oh, I didn't think Florida State played all that well in the bowl game, and they had most of their players in that game, and they were playing against a weakened Oklahoma, and they only won by a field goal. So
That
I'm
is
not
true.
believing. I'm not believing the FSU hype.
That is a very good point.
And frankly, after Florida State and Clemson, there's a not major, but there's a tier drop off in the ACC. I mean, one of those two teams is going to win the conference. So I think that's a fantastic way to kick off the draft, Uncle Boom.
Well, speaking of tier drop offs, I'd be stupid if I didn't take Ohio State right here. I'm going with Ohio State at 4. And then I'm going to go ahead and go right back at you because Gonzo, based on our scoring system, I'd be stupid not to take Florida State at 5 because the tier drop off in the ACC is so steep. I got to at least get one of the teams that's going to be in the conference championship game to assure me some points. So I'm going to go with FSU.
All right, man. Zan, rapid fire on the back-to-back there.
I love it.
Snake draft. Yeah, I love it. Ohio State and Florida State. Yeah, I had Florida State as my number 1 team in the ACC, so I like that pick. And, Ohio State, I mean, you could have just taken 2 conference champions and 2 playoff candidates right there at 4 and 5. So very, very good results.
Yeah, so everybody looking at the first 4 teams picked, that looks like the 14 playoff or something like that. So, so now I'm going to go a little bit. We're going to see. I'm going to go with Wisconsin. Why? Because they're in a weak division, and they got a pretty weak schedule other than Ohio State. I think that's their only game that they're almost guaranteed to lose. So I'm going to go with the Badgers.
All right. Yeah, that's the first wild card pick right there.
I like that, Uncle Boom. I mean, it's going to be between them and Iowa in the Big Ten West.
Them or Iowa.
And Luke Fickell, I mean, was a home run hire. And with the new offense they're putting in, I think it's very, very possible they could win the division.
Yeah, I think so too. And in Iowa, it's they couldn't score a touchdown last year.
And their defense scored more than their offense.
So I know they're going to be better, but I think it'd be that much better.
No, absolutely. Yeah, especially with the new system and everything. I think that's a good pick with upside. So I'm very happy that this team has fallen to me at number 7. And I think we all know if you've listened to
LSU.
Some of our
what he's taking.
Gonzo, I am
you
I'm
made
sorry,
it easier.
man.
Thank you. No, you made it easier.
Gotta do what I gotta do. LSU, come home to Papa.
No, let me just give a brief. I've said for many reasons, Shoob, you drafted a great team here. I mean, they have a very good chance to win the West, and you have to win the national championship. I mean, if that comes true, I mean, you've won the draft right there.
Yeah, I just think LSU is so much upside, and I'm really liking this pick. I like that they fell to me at 7. I think there's value. I had them 4th overall on my big board.
I love it. So because I have interchanging picks, the order doesn't matter here, but I will start. I'm going to take us out west, and I'm going to go with a team who's under. I stupidly bet. Give me the Washington Huskies. I got the Michael Penix love. And I know we're kind of a pseudo Washington Husky pod, so I'm just very excited with what they're bringing back on offense, and I think they have a good shot to win the Pac-12. And then, guys, I am redeeming some stupid takes with the 3rd pick, the 3rd round.
Oh,
yes,
no.
Yes. Oh. Give me the Tulane Green Wave, a team I took in the fade draft and got proven so wrong. Now I take you boys in redemption, and I hope you can win another American championship to make me look smart. I am sorry, Tulane. You can call this kind of a guilt pick maybe, but I apologize. And this is my, I don't want to say punishment, but this is how I'm expressing it.
I think that's a great pick because isn't their line sitting there at 9.5 wins? So they're the best value for the G5, absolute best. So that was a great pick, Gonzo.
That is a very good pick.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah, I had Tulane far and away as the best group of 5 team, and I was not expecting you to pick them at number 9 overall, Gonzo.
Oh, Gonzo.
I knew you were eyeing them. I knew you were eyeing them.
I had them on my list too. I was gonna sweep Tulane in the 4th. So
I was about
Dude,
to sweep him up right here
I,
at number
I
10.
equate this to like taking the closer in like the top 5 rounds in a baseball draft right here. So I'm excited to see the shakeup now as a result.
Yeah. No, I would have definitely taken them in this round or my next pick if they were there, but I like Tulane a lot. Michael Pratt's going to be an NFL quarterback, in my opinion. So it's not all doom and gloom for me because I am still happy that this team has sort of fallen in my lap. I have them actually as number 5 on my big board. And like LSU, I think they have a pretty good amount of upside, and I think that there's a very good chance they can win their conference. But they are also notorious for not winning their conference when they should.
Oh.
Uncle Boomer, you are not going to like this pick. Hook 'em.
Oh,
Give me Texas. Upside.
that's a
Right
huge
here.
upside pick. Potential college football playoff upside if they can finally put stuff together. So that's a good pick.
Did you guys
Keywords.
know that Steve
High risk, high reward.
Sarkisian, as a head coach, has never won 10 games?
Oh, yeah.
Never. I think he's been a head coach for like 12 seasons.
Hey, for the sake of the team draft and seeing Texas, fumble every single year, I would love that. I'd love to see it again.
I think
8-4 Texas. Let's go, baby.
Yeah,
All right.
that's
So,
definitely risky because it's Texas, but I like the pick there.
There's upside. You're chasing upside.
Yes.
And I'm going to counter the Longhorns, and I'm going to go with the Sooners of Oklahoma for
course.
number 11
Mhm.
pick.
I had a feeling you're going to grab Oklahoma. Yeah.
There it is.
I like you look at the schedule, and it's, I think it's like 6, 7, 8 or group of 5 teams from last year. So they're playing 3 of the new group of 5 teams in the conference. It just looks like an easy schedule, and if we have our quarterback and Texas does what they have been doing for the last 12 years, then I see Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game.
Their schedule is certainly favorable. So I think there's good value with that third pick being Oklahoma for sure. Now, what I'm going to do here, boys, is I'm going to take 2 clear-cut conference champion candidates, USC and Oregon, and take them off from you guys. I'm going USC and Oregon.
Double tapping on the Pac-12.
Exactly, and doubling my chances to get at least one person in the championship game.
Brilliant.
Man, you guys are killing me here. I was really hoping that I'd get one of USC or Oregon coming back to me on that next swing around. That's who I was eyeing. We know each other too well. Zan sniped me a couple times last year during the draft, and he's doing it already here again.
I knew you were going to be all over Pac-12, and it wouldn't get back to me. So I had to take 2 of the top teams, and then there's like a drop off. Like there are good teams below that, but there's a clear drop off from those top 3.
All right, Team Boomer.
Well, this is difficult, but all right, I'm going to flex my super flex, and I'm going to take the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame.
Oh, super flex.
I like that. It's a team with upside for sure right there. Notre Dame, well coached. They had a really strong finish last year. They started kind of rough, but they finished like with one. They only like lost 1 of their last 6 or something like that.
I think so.
They started really poor, but they finished really hot.
Yeah, I think they started off with Ohio State. So this year they got a little bit easier. They're playing in Ireland against who are they playing against?
Navy.
Navy, yes. You guys know the story of Navy and Notre Dame. Is that in World War II, all the football players went to Army and Navy because it was wartime, and so they went to those academies. And the Irish were having trouble getting teams to play them because I guess there was a shortage of college football teams. And so Navy decided, okay, we'll play the Fighting Irish because they needed the money. And ever since then, the Irish have played Navy every year since then as a reward for that kind of thing in World War II.
The Rip Miller Trophy.
That's really cool. Shoob, I think I know who you're going to take right here.
All right, Zan, who is Shoob taking here at number 15?
You're taking Penn State. You're taking Penn State.
Ooh. So
or Bama. It's Penn State or Bama.
Man, Bama's still on the board.
You are correct, my friend. It is one of those 2 teams, and that team is the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, I know I've been down on Alabama this year, but I mean, come on now. I mean, this slate at number 15 overall, like I have LSU. I know I'm double dipping here on the SEC West, but like there's still a chance that Alabama is still just fine. There's still Alabama.
You're securing
And
your West champion.
I am securing, well, hopefully. Texas A&M, don't throw me a wrench here. But yeah, I'm securing pretty 2 shares of the SEC West, and I just think Alabama, I mean, come on, they're still gonna win at least 9 games, probably 10 at least. It's Alabama. So give me those points there, even though I'm not very high on their quarterback situation. But everyone's got a price, man. Everyone's got a price for everything. And this is where my buy low price on Alabama was.
I like it, Shoob. Where I'm going to take us now. So, I went on the record with this team. It might be a reach, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Texas Tech Red Raiders. I know there's a dark horse that's hard with K-State on the board, but I like to stick to my guns. And as someone who had Texas Tech winning the Big 12, I'm going to take them as my Big 12 representative. And then I'm going to jump down again into the G5 and really just a division. I mean, a league that this team should clean up in for the foreseeable future. Give me the Liberty Flames. I know in one of our other videos, I had Law Tech making the conference championship with the assumption they would play Liberty. But I just think given the teams that Liberty's playing down there, given the hire they made with Jamie Chadwell, I like Liberty as one of my G5.
Liberty's schedule is insanely easy. That's a great pick.
It's got to be the easiest schedule I think I've ever seen.
It's a cakewalk, yeah.
I don't know if there's ever been.
I had them as my second schedule. G5 team. So you've gotten the 2 best G5 teams on my list.
Oh, G5 Gonzo. You got a
group
of 5 Gonzo.
We'll say you just gave Penn State to Shoob. He doesn't have a Big 10 slot.
I did.
You did give Penn State to me, and yeah, I have one last team here on my big board before I think there's a tier drop off with teams that I think have national championship or conference championship upside. And that last team is Penn State. So, yeah, I mean, again, I'm double tapping on the same division twice now. I'm taking 2 SEC West teams, 2 Big 10 East teams, but I mean, I'll take it, guys. I'll take it. I like the upside with all of my picks so far. So, but, Gonzo's really throwing a wrench here, man, with the G5 picks. So you got to take advantage of it one way. But, man, G5 is going to get interesting here in a little bit.
Yeah, G5 is a good strategy for this. If you can find those 9-10 win teams there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it falls off the wayside after those top 2-3.
Yeah, it's so now do I go down there into the G5 or do I stay in the power? I think I don't have an SEC and I don't have a Pac-12. All right, I have a surprise SEC team. I'm going to take Texas A&M.
That's a good upside team for sure. If they could figure it all out, they have the talent to potentially contend out in the West. So it's not a bad pick at all.
Yeah, they made major coaching changes, and supposedly that Jimbo Fisher is not going to be calling the offense. But I've heard both ways on that, so I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Yeah,
I think he needs to stay away from that.
He definitely does. If he lets Bobby Petrino do his thing, I think they've got a shot to improve. I will say I don't have an SEC team either, and there's a clear drop-off after this last team. So even though they're probably not a conference championship team, I can probably get myself some wins in a New Year's Six bowl potentially, or at least a bowl win. Going for Tennessee here.
Great value. Yeah, Tennessee. I lied. Penn State and Tennessee were the 2 teams that I had left as potential conference champions for the Power 5. Yeah, good value on Tennessee there at number 20. But man, Joe Milton, that could be a rodeo.
I mean, my other options were Kentucky, Arkansas, or Ole Miss, basically, for the SEC. Okay, and this is where it gets a little dicey. This is where the picks get kind of hard because the G5 has been whittled down a little bit. I mean, I could go for some of the top teams in the G5, but there's no clear-cut favorites. There's usually like a 1A, 1B. So I'd be kind of gambling if I took that right here. So because of that, I'm not going to gamble. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a page out of Uncle Boomer's playbook here. And I'm going to take Iowa. I'm going to hedge for that conference championship coming over Wisconsin because it's going to be Iowa or Wisconsin. So I'm to making a play for the conference championship.
I
Yeah,
like that pick a lot too, man.
that's
Great
good.
value on Iowa. I picked them to win the Big Ten West this year, but Cade McNamara apparently, I think he might
He's
be all
fine.
right. I think
He's
he's going to be
fine.
all right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. You could have just drafted the Big Ten West winner this late, round 6. Good pick.
I am looking for a Pac-12 team now, and there's going to be 4 picks before I can go again. So I have the choice of UCLA or Utah Utes. Most people would take the Utes, but I'm going to go with UCLA because their schedule is a bit easier, and I think they're going to be a bit of a surprise this year.
That's an interesting pick. Yeah,
They definitely have a favorable schedule.
They do have a favorable schedule. So this is a good strategy pick here. And I personally, during win totals, I wasn't as high in them, but I have heard a lot of other opinions that I highly respect that are pretty high on UCLA. They think they could be a surprise team too. So, I mean, Chip Kelly quarterbacks always do well, even if it's the true freshman. But either way, either him or the Kent State kid, I think that's going to be a good team this year that can get you some points at the very least. I like it. All right, so now this is where it does get a little interesting here. So I have my Big 10, I have my Big 12, I have my SEC, and I already have 2 of my 3 P5 flexes taken off the board. It was 2. I couldn't resist taking 2 of my P5 flex spots. So Gonzo, it is time for me to join you in the group of 5. The next team that I think has a pretty good shot to win Conference USA is the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers.
With a line of 8.5.
Yeah, I had them as my number 1 team in Conference USA, right up there with Liberty at number 2. But I'm pretty happy to get them here. I think that they have a pretty good shot to win the CUSA. Austin Reed's coming back as a starter. They have a great coaching staff. I mean, they've been a great program in recent years, and the CUSA just got a lot easier this year. I mean, it's going to be like by far the weakest conference. So hopefully they'll rack up some wins for me.
It's one of the best directional schools out there.
Exactly. Amen.
I think we're gonna have a fun time sweating out that CUSA championship, assuming it goes how we think it might go. And now back on the clock. Okay, I'm gonna jump back in the Power 5 now and take care of some business. So I'm gonna go into the ACC, and there's 2 options here, and I'm gonna base this one off of schedule. And even though I went under on them, I think the schedule dictates me taking them. I'm gonna take the Louisville Cardinals for my ACC pick. I just think Jeff Brom, and again, the schedule is more so what I'm basing this off of, and maybe I get lucky and they find a way to sneak into the ACC championship. Highly doubt it, but again, I'm going on schedule there. And then for my next pick, I'm kind of gonna hedge that kind of ballsy Texas Tech, not a reach, but early draft. And I'm gonna take K-State. I know that's kind
Some
of
insurance.
yeah. But that way, if I miss on Texas Tech, having left Penn State on the board, I could at least rely on the old reliable Wildcats, who are the defending champions, to come in and kind of help me out. So I like those 2, and let's keep it going.
I think that's really good insurance. That's really good value right there.
Yeah, I mean that you could have just drafted the Big 12 championship game if we had more chaos. I mean, I could see Texas Tech or K-State being the Big 12 championship. Like that's how crazy the Big 12 is.
Shoob and I picked Kansas State to make the Big 12 championship. So
yeah, I think seriously. Kansas State it has a potential of even making the 14 playoff. I mean, if they can only be a 1-loss
team, maybe,
and they don't, they can replace Deuce Vaughn with 3 or 4 guys, maybe that they could be a tremendous team this year.
Gonzo, I'm very surprised that you did not pick another ACC team instead of Louisville. I'm very surprised by that. Very surprised by that. But
I like to spread out the risk.
I like it. Spreading out the risk. You got to have a diverse portfolio.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think there's multiple places I could go here. This board's looking pretty wide open for me. So I do not have ACC or Pac-12. You know what, Gonzo? I am going to
Do it.
not go your. No, I'm not going to do it. I thought about it there for a minute. I'm not going to do it. So the team that I'm going to go with
I'll do
next
it.
10 wins.
is a team in the Pac-12, and that team is the Oregon State Beavers.
Ooh,
Oh,
whoa,
man.
really?
There's
Yep.
potential there with the Beavs. They have
You know,
potential.
Utah is available.
I know
Utah's a
Utah's
tough
available.
schedule.
Two-time Pac-12 champions. You know.
Their
I-
schedule's just
oh,
really
believe me, I
tough.
know.
I like Oregon State over the Utah pick for sure.
Ooh.
This one, I'll
like
admit,
it.
I'll admit
I like
this
it.
one. I'm not super confident about this one, but on my big board, I did have Oregon State actually is just a shade above Utah. They were literally like right on top of each other on my big board, but
Wow.
Utah's schedule. Have you guys seen Utah's schedule?
It's
It
rough.
is tough.
It
It
is
is
tough.
rough. I mean, and I see a lot of downside here. I mean, Utah might not even have Rising and some of their other good players available for Florida. I mean,
Hmm.
Gators, we beat them last year in the swamp. Unlikely to do it this year, but I'm just saying you got to play Florida, then you got to go on the road to play Baylor in week 2. I mean, that's just your non-con. That's tough, man.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is I'm a believer in Oregon State, man. I'm a believer in Oregon State. Always have been.
I think that's the best pick you could have made for the Pac-12, given
I-
what was left.
I have the Beavers winning 9 games at least.
I think they can win 9 or 10. Yeah,
So I'm gonna stick
Won
with my
10 last
convictions
year.
here. Yeah, I'm gonna stick
there's
with my
good value
convictions here. Stick with my convictions. I like this pick. Go Beavs.
build the dam.
Build
So
the
Maybe
dam.
I should take Utah, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go to Boise State,
Good pick.
and it's another team that I hate.
I know why you hate them.
Certain game that I
Statue of
this-
Liberty.
Statue
yeah,
of Liberty.
that was. I even invited people over to my house to watch that game. That just made me so angry.
Oh man. I miss those days back when the BCS bowls were like really fun. Back when they meant a lot more than they do now. But-
So for me, I think I'm kind of forced into making a decision here. There's a very clear drop off in this league after this team, so I have to go with TCU. I don't have a Big 12 team, and there's a very clear drop off after them. So I've got to give myself a chance at getting a Big 12 champion, or at least someone in the conference championship. So I will be taking TCU. And then I'm going to dip into the G5 now. I'm going to take SMU as my first G5 team.
Double tapping Dallas Fort Worth.
The
Sam.
Metroplex.
I own Dallas, baby.
He owns the Iron Skillet.
Yeah, it might be the last year of the Iron Skillet.
Yep, they're
Oh,
not doing
yeah.
it anymore.
That's unfortunate. But yeah, I think TCU, just a quick comment. I like that TCU pick. I had them next up I actually had them as my 3rd best team in the Big 12. So I like that pick
Hey,
there.
Remember, I took them like 15th round and they made the natty. So.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's not like TCU made the national championship last year or anything, guys. Like
Yeah. One of my favorite Matthew McConaughey movies is We Are Marshall. I'm going to take
Yes.
Marshall. Put that
Thunder and
in
Herd.
G5.
all right.
Good old
Marshall.
G5. Now's the time. Here comes the run. Here comes the G5 run.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Marshall. There's the Sun Belt Conference, I believe that's our first Sun Belt team off the board, right? Yeah, it is. So, yeah, Sun Belt, interesting conference, especially at the top. I think Sun Belt's actually pretty competitive. There is one conference I'm a little surprised hasn't been tapped into just yet.
Oh, I know.
And-
I know who you're going for.
I'm slightly surprised that they haven't been taken yet. So I'm gonna go this direction.
Mm-hmm.
Gonzo thinks that there's a good chance that they make the New Year's Six Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the Rockets of Toledo.
Yeah.
I knew you were going that way.
Good
I-
pick.
It was either
That is a good
Toledo
pick.
or Ohio. I think after those two, there's a clear tier drop off. I think Toledo definitely has the better roster talent. I mean, I like the Quan Finn. I'm not a big fan of Toledo's coaching staff, to be honest. I don't think they get the best out of that team, but I mean, they can still win me 8 or 9 games and probably have a good chance to win the MAC again. But I did not see myself going into the MAC this early. I usually like to stay away from the MAC until the very last minute, but not this year.
I love the G5 love, and I'm going to keep that going. To cap out my G5 spots, I'm going to go with South Alabama. It was between,
Ooh.
yeah,
Oh.
I just like who they're bringing back. I just like the personnel. And so Yeah, it's basically me banking on them beating Troy. And then to make sure a P5 conference is rounded out for the Big Ten, I'm between these two. I'm going to take Minnesota just because they're in the West, and there's a lot of variance there. That could be a 5-7. That could be an 8-4. But I just need a Big Ten team with a pulse, so I'm going to row that boat.
Gonzo, man, you're killing me. South Alabama, that's who I was going to take with my next pick, man. Oh, I think that's a great pick. I think South Alabama, I had them as my number 1 team in the Sun Belt. I think they are going to win the Sun Belt this year. Great pick, Gonzo.
I'll tell you what, I was the one to grief Shoob last year. You're the one griefing him this year.
Seriously, man. That's what I get for, whoever you're picking next to in the draft, sometimes it seems like they always get you in any fantasy format, including this. But that's all right. Well, it is a little interesting here. The board, I think, again, I don't really see. I had South Alabama lined up as my next bullet in the chamber, but that one got taken out. It's pretty wide open here for me. Do I take my last Power 5 flex spot? Well, actually, no, it wouldn't be a Power 5 flex spot because I haven't taken an ACC team yet. And you know what? This may bite me pretty hard here. But you know what? Screw it. I have them as my 3rd best team in the ACC, and this podcast as a whole is pretty high on this team. Give me
Blue Devils.
Duke.
Give me Duke. I did not have an ACC team yet, which I almost forgot for a minute, and I'll take Duke. I didn't get the FSU or Clemson, so I think Duke is the next best bet, but not really comfortable there with that pick.
Yeah, I'm getting uncomfortable too in any more picks. So
This is where it gets kind of nitty gritty.
Yeah.
I'm going to finish out the G5 in my stack, and I'm going to go with Fresno State.
Fresno State.
Mikey Keene.
Sounds like a really bad pick, and it probably is.
So you're
no, they're one of the better teams in the Mountain West.
So you got Boise and Fresno. So you've got
a lot of insurance there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it may come back and bite me, but
I think you'll get at least one of them in the championship game. I think you have a good shot at that.
Yeah, and I'm hoping the other one comes in 3rd or something like that. And so,
as long as they're getting you wins, that's what's important.
Yeah, they are in opposite divisions, which is good for you because there's a chance that they win their respective divisions and they meet in the championships. That would rack you a lot of points. I mean, that was the Mountain West Championship last year, was those 2 teams. So,
all righty. So here's where I'm going, boys. I've only got one G5 team. I've got to basically give myself a chance here. I'm going to go with Troy in the Sun Belt.
Troy. Defending Sun Belt champions.
Yep, defending Sun Belt champions. And then I'm going to take my last P5 flex. I'm going to take Kentucky.
You're killing me, man. You were the one that was saying you weren't high on Kentucky.
I knew you wanted them. That's why I took them.
Man, you guys are just evil. I thought there was no way you would take Kentucky.
I knew for a fact, I even told myself, as you didn't take Kentucky, I was thinking, he thinks he's going to get Kentucky on the way back. That's what I was thinking to myself. And that's why I said, I'm taking Kentucky.
See, now I kind of hope Kentucky, now I hope my bold prediction is wrong because I feel like you just did that just to spite me.
I'm chasing upside. I think they'll win 8 games, 7 or 8 games.
Man, you were all over their under and win totals. This is a sham.
Yeah, this is getting difficult now, but I'm going to flip over to another page and flip over and do a search. Last minute analysis here. Yeah, so I'm going to go with Syracuse this year.
Okay.
Syracuse.
Wild card.
Wow.
Update.
All right.
Pieces here.
So I did have Syracuse as part of I did have them ranked 9th in the ACC, but granted, I did have them as part of that second tier of teams. So I think Syracuse, they're in the same ballpark as Duke, Louisville, Miami, NC State, Wake Forest. So I could see
North Carolina's still there too.
Yeah, a lot of people may be surprised North Carolina hasn't been taken yet, but if you've listened to this podcast, you know that we're not particularly high on them this year relative to the market. But I think that shows itself here. They haven't been taken yet. Will I take them? Hell no. I'm not taking North Carolina.
Hell no.
Sorry, guys. I love Drake May, but not the coaching staff nor the defense. So I have one G5 flex, one P5 flex, and then my super flex spot left. So I'm looking at the board here, and, I feel like I'm going to have to go ahead and take my final P5 flex up. And I didn't take them when I picked Oregon State, but I mean, hell, at number 39, give me Utah.
Yeah, that's a good value. I was gonna get them if they came back to me.
I mean, we were all surprised that I took that Oregon State over them, but then they fall into me here, so maybe it wasn't a bad pick after all. I don't know, but I mean, I'll take them, and I'll take 2 shares of the Pac-12 with Oregon State and Utah, and I still think Utah can win 8 or 9 games.
And there's potential. They might still make the conference championship game. They're one of the most well-balanced teams. I mean, some of those top-tier teams have great offenses, not very great defenses. Utah is balanced on both sides, so there's the potential for Utah still to be in that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, if there really is Pac-12 chaos, it could end up being Utah and Oregon State in the Pac-12 championship game. Like that's still
that would be a Shoob wet dream right there.
It would be, yeah. That's still within reason of happening. I doubt it, but I'll take it.
That's a great pick. Yeah, I mean, they haven't won the Pac-12 for 2 years in a row for nothing, Shoob.
Yes.
So
they're the defending back-to-back defending Pac-12 champions. So I had to say it. Utah fans, hopefully I satisfied you. You're not yelling at the screen. I just took the back-to-back defending Pac-12 champions in the 10th round. I think that's a good pick.
So y'all should kind of call me Toby Keith because I'm feeling pretty American right now because I'm going to take UTSA to kind of get a grip on the American.
UTSA. Some road runners, meeps.
Yep,
taking the meeps.
So between them and the Green Wave, I'm hoping somebody comes out of that conference. And then I know 2 fellas that are really going to like this. This could be an interesting pick. I think I'm guaranteed at least a bowl game with these guys. But give me the Pokes. I got faith in Gundy, and I think we can get 6 wins.
Okay.
And
you're chasing the upside. You're chasing the upside.
Hey, I bet they're over, so I got to back it up now with my drafting.
I'm shocked, Gonzo, because one of your bold predictions was that the Sunflower Showdown was going to be basically a game for a spot in the Big 12 championship, and Kansas is still there.
Oh, I see them working. But I just that's faith in Gundy right there. I mean, y'all know better than I do, but he'll take a season like this and then somehow go 10-2. So I'm just betting on that upside.
I'd be more than happy with that. I don't think it's going to happen, but hey, if it happens, it's purely because you drafted them, Gonzo. So thank you if that happens. It's purely because you drafted them.
I will be going to the last Bedlam game.
I will be too. I will be.
Oh,
there.
Really? Oh, good.
Yeah, there's no way I'm going to miss that. It's the last game. Even though we're probably going to lose, but I'm still going to go.
Well, so not if Gonzo's right. It might be a good game.
All right, so back to me at number 42. So all I have left is a G5 flex and my super flex. So I can go anywhere in my super flex. Notre Dame's already been sniped way earlier. So I basically have the board wide open to me here once again. And I think that, Gonzo, once again, you sniped me with UTSA. I was going to take UTSA right here. You've just been killing me here. I was going to be meeping.
Jeff Trailer, take Gonzo to the promised land.
Hey, UTSA did me a lot of good last year. I took them. That was a great
They're one
pick.
of the better teams in their conference, for sure.
So
they got Mr. Harris coming back. Big.
I have 3 potential teams here, and I don't care if I list them all out because I can't pick any more Power 5 teams after this, so it doesn't matter to me what you guys do. But with my super flex spot, I'm going to go into the G5, or the P5, and there's 3 teams I'm eyeing here. I'm eyeing Ole Miss, I'm eyeing UCF, and I'm eyeing Illinois. I already have 2 Big Ten teams, though I don't have a share of the Big Ten West. Do I take a flyer on the Big Ten West and take Illinois, which I think Illinois, they have a realistic chance to get to the championship game. This would be great for, the dynasty. This would be.
They certainly have a good defense. They do have a good defense.
That would be very fitting. UCF, I'm not super high on them joining the Big 12, though my power rankings definitely are high on them. I don't necessarily agree with that. And then there's Ole Miss, which, you know, I already have 2 SEC West teams, but I have Ole Miss here pretty high despite the really tough schedule. You know what? Screw it. I have an Illinois dynasty on this channel. Give me the Fighting
love it.
Illini.
I like the loyalty, Shoob.
I'm planting my flag in the Big Ten West. I had to do it. I couldn't just leave the Big Ten West alone.
I love the loyalty, man. And personally, I had Ole Miss slightly at a higher tier, but I love the loyalty on that one.
I did too.
I like the pick.
I did too, but I already have 2 SEC West teams, so this was strategy. I gotta get my flag planted in the Big Ten West.
Yeah, now I'm down to my least bad choices as I look at them, and
it's kind of hard at this point.
It is, but you know, looking for a team that can dominate the bottom tier of their conference, and I'm liking Rock Chalk Jayhawk. Let's go with Kansas.
I think that's a good flyer. Gonzo has them as spoiler alert. Actually, we won't spoil it because this is a separate video. But Gonzo does have them as potentially being in the Big 12 championship.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
The specifics we'll keep a secret.
I love the coaches there. So it's just got to get over the recent history of them being so terrible.
They're doing a good job so far of doing that.
Yeah, if you go back 15 years, they weren't that terrible. So
they were like number 3 or something at one point in time 15 years ago, or 06, I believe.
2007, yeah, with Mangino. They were in the Orange Bowl.
And they're building a $300 million stadium sports complex thing. So they're all hyped up about the future. So
straight out of Jurassic.
Yeah, I saw it. I actually like it. Everyone's making fun of it, calling Jurassic Park. I actually think it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I like those sticky lights going up.
So I have a G5 and a super flex that I have to fill. So G5, I'm going to chase a share of the MAC. I'm going to take Ohio, the second highest odds. So I at least have a chance to get a team in the championship game there. If not, maybe snipe it and win it. So I'm taking Ohio. Give me Rourke, baby. And then for my super flex, man, I think my best option here, because I think all the best Big 12 flyers, although the Big 12 is so inconsistent, UCF, Baylor, either of them could somehow end up in the conference championship, although I don't think it's likely. I'm going to go ahead and bank on a team that I think could get me another conference championship appearance and could get me some wins in the process. I'm going to take Air Force.
Yeah.
Oh, man, Air Force was my darling last year.
Their win total is 8.5 last I looked at it.
Yeah. All right. So my list. You're fighting Uncle Boomer there in the Mountain West. Couldn't let Uncle Boomer just have a monopoly on the Mountain West.
Yeah.
Got to try to snipe him in the last round.
Oh, wow. That's a good thing there. It's like, oh, man. But I've already got everything filled out. My last Power 5 flex. There's ACC teams taken, but I've already got 2 ACC. I don't want to go. So I need to go to the Big Ten, but most of those are taken. The only thing that's left is Nebraska.
There's some Big 12 teams and some SEC teams with potential.
All I'm going to say is that North Carolina and Miami fans probably hate us right now.
I know they do. Like, why won't you pick my team?
Yeah, because you're trying to pick. Well, I would be trying to pick third place in the ACC. And then the SEC, gosh, it's such a tough conference. They just, anybody that's not a blue blood just eat each other alive. So I can't go, but I gotta have something Big 12. I think Big 12 that's all those good ones. The only thing I got is
teams for flyers that you could probably take in the Big 12.
Yeah, at this point, you're taking a team that you think potentially has that upside to win the league or get to the championship.
And the Big 12 has the widest variance for teams to do that.
Oh, yeah.
That is true. But I don't think any of the ones that are left are those. And
you never know with this league. TCU was predicted to finish last year, like mid-league.
Yeah, I think 4th or 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't take UCF. Their fans don't need that ego boost.
No, they would be mad that they went in the 12th round. What do you mean?
Yeah, seriously.
National champions, man.
2018, baby.
I mean, again, Ole Miss fans, UNC fans, Miami fans, NC State fans, UCF fans, Baylor fans, they're all really mad at us right now.
Arkansas fans.
Arkansas,
Yeah.
they're all contenders. In fact, there's another team in the SEC that I'm a little surprised. I don't want to help anybody out here because I'm competing against you guys. But there's
Yeah.
another team in the SEC that I think is very well worth a flyer here.
I know who you're talking about.
You're not talking about Arkansas, are you?
He's like, do you want to tell me?
We do have money on the line, guys. I can't give away everything.
You could tell him afterwards.
I mean, Arkansas has the 11th toughest schedule in the country. So I'm going to take Arkansas.
All right.
It's a dumb choice, but
No, they have a
No,
really
it's
quality
not.
team. They just have a hard schedule. They have a really good
Sweet.
team. They just have a tough schedule. That's the only thing about Arkansas.
and it's
I'm higher than they are on Arkansas this year. I actually think they have potential to hit their over, but it's all dependent on KJ Jefferson's health.
No, I was
Yeah.
on the over with you.
Oh, you were?
So,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah, no. I mean, they could get you 7-8 wins potentially, maybe 9 if it goes really well. But yeah, I mean, KJ Jefferson being healthy all year, then this can end up being a pretty decent pick for you.
They have a great running back in Raheem Sanders. They have a great offensive line. Their defense is still pretty solid. They did lose some pieces, but the defense still should be solid. And then KJ Jefferson's a beast. He can pass and run. Great dual threat on both fronts. And I think he had 24 touchdowns and 5 interceptions last year, so he's very efficient too. So there's a lot of upside with Arkansas.
if they get 5, 6 one-score wins, like TCU did last year, then
It's totally doable. Yeah.
then they're a
I
top
like
10
that.
team.
And with having TAMU, I mean, how you're leveraging the SEC West, I like that. So you've got a share of the West.
Mhm.
Even if it's not the division, that's still some wins you can eat up. So I like it.
All right. Well, with my final pick here,
Ultimate.
I need to go to the G5. I can only pick a G5 team. I have one G5 flex spot open. I wish I could pick P5 because there's a couple other P5 teams that I would take here. So with the final pick, I have Western Kentucky out of CUSA and Toledo out of the MAC. I'm not going to double tap on those conferences. I got to diversify my G5 portfolio. I'm going to go into the Sun Belt because I think the best teams in the American have been taken already. And the Sun Belt, I still think, has some untapped potential here on the board. South Alabama man Gonzo, I can't reiterate that enough. That was a great pick. That was a great pick. I'm still pissed about that. So
that makes me giggle a little bit. Thank you.
yeah. So the team that I have next as my second team in the Sun Belt, winning potentially 8 or 9 games, a team that I actually picked in this team draft last year, and they kind of disappointed me. Though after week 2 of the season, it looked like that was a home run pick, and then they really disappointed because that team went into College Station last year and beat the Aggies, and then they finished 6-6. Give me App State. Give me the Mountaineers.
I like it.
It's
a shame that James Madison can't play in their conference championship. Otherwise, they'd be a consideration.
Exactly. So that's one thing that I was about to mention. James Madison is not eligible for their conference championship game, and that's the only reason why I'm picking App State because, I can get an extra point with App State if they win their division. You can't get that with James Madison, though. If James Madison was eligible, I would have taken James Madison for the record. But yeah, the Sun Belt East is actually pretty tough, so I don't feel too good about that one. I'm just kind of trusting App State's, has a bounce back year. But yeah, I would have definitely liked South Alabama in the West for sure. All right, Gonzo, who's Mr. Irrelevant for the second annual Saturday Scholars Team Draft?
So to close it out, Uncle Boomer had me nervous. And Shoob, the team you're thinking of is exactly who I want and who I'm going to take. In year 1 of Hugh Freeze, give me the Auburn Tigers. Even though I bet they're under, or I took their under on our pods, I could see this team finding a way to have a great first year, maybe an 8-4, maybe mess around and beat in Alabama. So I think that's a perfect Mr. Relevant flyer. And yeah, I just needed a little more SEC in there. So Auburn Tigers.
I wish I could
Auburn
be
goes
Lee
like
Corso.
this.
Yes.
Through the years.
I wish I could be Lee
Honorable
Corso
hate
right
mail.
now with my pencil. Great pick. I like that one a lot.
So we have honorable hate mail coming in from fan bases of Ole Miss, Arkansas, UCF, Baylor, UNC, Miami, NC State. James Madison, we would have picked you, but don't hate us. Yeah, and anyone else who didn't get picked?
Missouri.
Missouri.
Yeah.
Missouri will send us hate mail, no doubt. Hey,
Yeah, that
Missouri,
was,
I took your over. Just so you know, Missouri, I took
I
your
was
over.
with you.
But the
Yep.
way my roster played out, I just didn't have room for you. I'm sorry, Mizzou.
Yeah, that's the next segment here is we're going to talk about teams that just missed, teams that are still on the big board, and teams that we could have potentially taken. And then we'll each give a quick analysis of our own teams, what we feel good about, what we don't feel good about. So, gentlemen, I will lead us off. I mean, we already kind of talked about it a lot these last few rounds, but I think teams that just missed that certainly were definitely being capable of being taken here. I have UCF as the next highest team on the big board, then Ole Miss, North Carolina, Washington State, Nebraska, Miami, Missouri, Mississippi State, NC State, Wake Forest, kind of all those Baylor, all those teams in that sort of tier, I think definitely could have been taken. That's who I have in the Power Five as just missing.
So for
I'm
me,
inclined to agree.
yeah, like on my tier list here, I have Ole Miss as best remaining, then UNC, Baylor, Arkansas, UCF, and then Miami, NC State.
I think this is the second year in a row nobody's taken UNC, right? Because I don't believe anybody took them last year either.
I don't recall.
I don't think anybody
I don't
did,
think
man.
anyone did.
Tar Heel fans really hate us, man. Yeah, that's definitely a team that I think could have been taken, even for as down as I am. I mean, if we had extended this draft just a little bit further, I would have scooped them up for sure. I mean, they do have Drake May after all, so would have been worthy.
Team, I'll say, in the lines of UNC, a team I thought about, but I didn't pull the trigger because of their division. I did consider Maryland, but considering they had to play Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, that was just that scared me off and made me go Minnesota, just because even if they find a way to snipe one, I just don't see you getting out of that alive.
Yeah, I completely forgot about Maryland, actually. I would have had Maryland as right in that Ole Miss, UNC, UCF tier for sure.
I had Maryland right after. So I had NC State, and then I had either Coastal / Maryland.
What about
Coastal
G5?
Carolina.
What about G5 teams that just missed?
Coastal, Eastern Michigan, FAU.
Like Eastern Michigan.
I considered
Texas.
Eastern Michigan, FAU, North Texas, and I had Memphis in there as a potential one if things got really nutty.
Memphis for sure. I had Memphis as my next highest G5 team.
That was mine too.
Yeah, I James Madison. I mean, if we had gone a little bit deeper in the G5, eventually I would have taken James Madison, and honestly, another 2 rounds I would have taken James Madison, even without the conference championship point. Like I still have them for 8 or 9 wins, so they would have been worthy of being taken. ULL, I thought potentially could have been taken here. Coastal Carolina still has McCall, so even though I don't like the coaching hire, they still got McCall. They still got an NFL caliber quarterback. I think they're on there. And then some flyers, man. If we went a little bit deeper,
yeah, Tech is a good flyer.
I know Gonzo likes that one. I didn't have them. I actually think if we had gone deeper, San Jose State would have been a good flyer here for the Mountain West. And then for the American, of course, Navy. I'm a big Navy guy this year. But
no Memphis love.
Not deep enough. Yeah, not deep enough. The other team too that I also had potentially out of CUSA was New Mexico State.
Ooh.
What?
They made a bowl game last year, man.
Jerry Hill.
They got a lot of guys coming back. You know how easy CUSA's getting this year?
I think for a flyer that's a worthwhile pick, but not
isn't the first bowl game they've made in like 20 years or something like that? They've been historically horrible.
Yeah. Well, they were independent for a while, and they just joined CUSA, but now CUSA's got a lot easier, and I have them projected for 8 wins, guys. Like I'm really high at New Mexico.
You should put your money on that. What's their line right now?
Coaching, man. I think it's
what's New Mexico 6.5? Yeah,
I think it's like 5, 6.5.
You got them for 8?
I have them projected for 8 wins. Yeah.
You should hammer that over.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I mean, I have.
Oh.
But so I'll say, fellas, in terms of roster makeup, if probably the only thing I'd probably redo, I probably should have taken Penn State. I just kind of they just escaped my mind. I was blinded by the Texas Tech Red Raidering. But again, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. But missing out on Penn State's probably going to be the one that hurts. But all in all, I like the team that's been constructed. We'll see if this G5 Gonzo approach works or not. So
I think the highlight is you are like far and away probably the G5 king for getting points. You have the best chance of getting the most points out of the G5 with your strategy, which was a good one because there's only so many G5 teams that are going to offer that potential NY6 caliber level of berth. But when it comes to you missing on Penn State and letting it fall to Shoob, I think might really lean and give the whole draft to Shoob because he didn't have a Big Ten team. That's what I was looking at. So I was thinking if you swipe him, then he's
Michigan.
Well, Michigan.
Oh yeah, my bad. But then he can't hedge basically if you do that. And Penn State, we already think is going to be a 9-10 win team regular season. So I mean, it's free points. Even if you think Liberty with their easy schedule, which I don't think is a bad pick, their line's 8.5. They could win 9-10 games, so you could get similar value relative to Penn State. I don't think it's a bad pick because your team might actually be in the conference championship.
It was taking Texas Tech. That kind of was probably the gaff. I probably could have waited on them
because I think because if you got Kansas State in the 7th, so you probably could have got Tech in the 7th. I think.
Yeah, I think Gonzo's round 7 through 10 was really good. I think he got great value at K-State, South Bama.
South Bama was a great one.
UTSA,
Minnesota was the best flyer you could have got for the West at that point. UTSA was a good pick. Oklahoma State and Auburn are true flyers. That could go either way for you.
And then, I mean, let's not forget he's got Georgia, guys. Like he got Georgia. Like that's going to be an.
He's got Washington. He's got Tulane. He's got like the Tulane and Liberty. I really love. I think he is like by far and away the G5 favorite. And then he's got South Bama. But he's the G5 juggernaut here.
But I will say, moving over to Shoob's team, like I look at these first 5, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that could be the playoff.
Legitimately, and then you give him Penn State on top of it.
I like to make it hard.
Penn State fell to me. Yeah. Those first
all the time I
sniped
them, it's the least I could do, right, Shoob?
Yeah,
that's true. No, for as much as I complain about that, I mean, those first 5 picks, like I had them all within the top 13 on my big board. So on my personal big board, I got 5 out of the top 13 teams. So of course, according to what my big board says, I have a pretty good team, but that's what my big board says, of course. And then with the middle of the draft, that's where, Oregon State, if I had to say like one pick that I definitely wasn't feeling good about in the time, probably Oregon State, but then I was able to make up for that by getting Utah, which I was very happy about. Duke and Toledo, they're just, I don't feel great about those. And then, I think the top 5 picks of my draft is, I think, really going to probably, if I'm able to repeat as back-to-back, it's going to be because of that top 5 there.
For sure. That top 5 has a lot of potential. And but one thing I love, man, I love that I was able to get Ohio, the second highest odds in the 11th for the team that you got in the 8th round. I thought that was good value. So I think you got the better team there, but I definitely have a team that can snipe you. And I was able to get later, and that's something I like about my draft. I think in terms of my draft, I was not expecting to get Ohio State. My initial plan here, I thought Team Boomer was going to take Ohio State for sure, and I was going to double down the ACC and go Clemson, FSU, and secure the ACC. That was going to be my initial strategy because that's how I thought it was going to play out. So I thought Team Boomer here, Uncle Steve, was going to take either Ohio State or OU in that first round. And so that's where I was banking on. So it was interesting. It threw me off for a little curveball there, but I think that was a great pick by Uncle Boomer there, because we were talking, and I think Clemson is going to come out of the ACC with the most regular season wins, and then they'll be in their conference championship game. I think FSU will win the conference championship, but I think Clemson will have more wins going into that game. So you're securing yourself a lot of points, and you're getting the appearance.
Yeah, if you look at my picks, I don't have a good playoff picks. I mean, it's long shot for any of those top 4 or 5 to get into the playoffs.
Clemson's not that long of a shot. I don't think Clemson's that long of a shot.
But
I mean, I put them in the national championship with my.
Yeah, Gonzo had them going to the Natty. So Clemson's not a long shot. Wisconsin's got a good chance coming out of the West. OU's got a good chance to win 10 games and be in the conference championship. If Notre Dame does well, they could. I mean, Notre Dame gets a lot of favoritism in the polls. They could find themselves in the college football playoff if they have a good season. Texas A&M and Petrino, like starts calling plays, and they still have a lot of roster talent. They could
Yeah.
realize that. I mean, you have
Honestly.
you're sitting on a potential team right now. UCLA favorable schedule, which could easily land 8 to 10 wins. Boise State, that's a good Mountain West team to have right there. Good value there. You could potentially win the Mountain West with that one. Marshall, Fresno State. I mean, Fresno State is good insurance that you got there in the Mountain West. No, I mean, like, your team is definitely chasing upside, but Clemson is definitely a great pick right there in the first round.
I
Yeah,
feel better about it then.
Yeah, I think Wisconsin, I wouldn't have taken them right in the second round, but if they another round or two, I definitely would have taken them because I think Wisconsin, of all the teams in the Big Ten West, I think they have the best chance of like taking a stranglehold on that division,
Yeah,
because of the
that's-
coaching staff. Iowa is
that's
just
why I
we
took
kind of
them.
know what to expect with Iowa, but like that their brand of football can only carry them so far. If Wisconsin fully clicks in year one with Fickle, like they're gonna take
And I think
a
they will.
stranglehold.
I picked Wisconsin to win the West.
Yeah.
And I think the only pick, and I made this same mistake last season, that I wouldn't, or that I think you could have got a little bit later is probably Notre Dame at round 4, and that's only because they don't play in a conference, so you can't get a conference championship point, unfortunately, for that. So you're kind of banking on postseason or them making the playoffs there. But other than that, I mean, like, I don't really. I think you just could have got better value. But other than that, I think you got good value for you picked people, except for maybe Wisconsin. You probably could have got one round later. But I think your draft has potential. Clemson, OU, Notre Dame, A&M, UCLA, Boise State, Fresno. There's definitely some potential there.
I like Gonzo's strategy the best. I think, yeah.
His was
Loading
smart.
up on
I was
G5.
not expecting Gonzo to do that. Gonzo's strategy was really smart.
I mean, again, part of this. So for background, Uncle Boomer, I don't know if you saw this video, but I had a terrible take in our fade draft where I took Tulane like blindly because they went like 2-10 last year, and all this team's gonna suck. They're gonna be the worst team in the American, and they turn around, go 13-1, win the Cotton Bowl, the conference, all that. In fact, I
Yeah.
work at the with where I work, they come to the state capitol, they're getting honored, and I'm just at my office like, oh my gosh,
I picked
How
this
could-
team.
like-
I have to fade
like-
this team.
and
And here they are in the next room getting on.
and I internally told myself, I'm like, if I have a chance to take them in this draft, without looking like a super reach, I need to do it. And I'm completely just selling all my value on these G5 teams that hopefully will live to the billing, win their conference. And I love the G5 too. I like being invested in those conferences. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah,
Yeah, buddy?
Gonzo, I was gonna say
San Antonio. Love them.
yeah, UTSA round 10 was great.
I think that they could be a major power in 20 years if they're managed right.
Yeah. No, I
10
agree.
years actually.
Well, they just built like a expensive facility. I think I saw like Royal Key. He does like the little tours. He just did a UTSA one.
Well, now that the team draft is officially over, I can sort of show my hand a little bit.
Please do.
I had Tulane as by far and away the best group of 5 teams.
I did as well.
My numbers, I have Tulane projected for 10.4 wins. Like,
No, I
I
had
have them
Tulane
as a
clear tier
toss-up.
above everyone else. You know,
I have them as a toss-up against Ole Miss. Like, I think that's like a 50-50 game.
I'm
Just-
taking them to cover.
Yeah, and that's mainly because of Pratt at quarterback. Pratt's really good,
Mhm.
and he's from Boca, by the way. 5'6", shout out 5'6".
He's from where?
Boca Raton.
Oh, he's from Boca. Wow.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah, Gonzo, I knew I went into this draft knowing that you were gonna definitely take Tulane early. I really did not expect you to take them on that swing around there. I was like, all right, if Gonzo's gonna take them, he's definitely gonna take them around 5 or 6. So that was my plan, was to make sure I got Tulane by round 4 at the very latest. So you derailed that strategy, but I will say the fact that I got Texas, Bama, and Penn State to fall on my lap, though, I was very happy about that.
I will say, Shoob, if you would have not taken them in the third, they wouldn't have gotten back to you because I was going to take them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So I definitely was eyeing a little bit of the Gonzo strategy going into this, but I'm happy with how it played out for me, though.
And that's kind of the trade-off, right? So if Gonzo gets the G5 juggernauts, it kind of leaves some of those like higher tier P5 teams left on the board. And that's what you're able to scoop up there on the swing back. So you got really good value in your first 5 picks.
Absolutely. And I mean, Zan, we didn't really talk a whole lot about your team, but I looked through your first like 9 picks, And your first 9 picks, I could see them all winning potentially 10 games. Like
That's the
those,
goal.
Very solid. Yeah, no, very, very solid. All the way down until you get to Kentucky. And even in round 10, I think Kentucky was a great value pick there, which I still can't believe you did that just out of pure spite. But that was a good pick for you, in my opinion. So
I did it more for the reaction. The reactions are kind of the
Sometimes
best.
it's worth
but it was a good pick.
You know what would be hilarious? You know what would be absolutely hilarious? What if Kentucky won me the team draft?
Yeah, man, that would be funny. Well, gentlemen, any final remarks before we cut the cord here on the second?
Well, let's let
draft?
Uncle Steve. You have anything you want to say about the draft as a whole?
This is very interesting. I like this. And yeah, I look forward to doing it again next year.
Absolutely.
So I can defend my championship.
I love
all
it.
the confidence.
By the way, Uncle Steve, Team Boomer, do you want to shout out your YouTube channel on here for those of who are interested? Like, give them quick, like what it's about and everything. I'll put the link in the description. Yeah.
Boomer Uncle Steve is my channel. And I think that's the one where I do college football reaction videos to Zan and Shoob's picks. And I also I think I do hiking on that channel as well. And I also have another channel called To Fatigue, which I also do hiking on that channel, and also War Room, which is a board game.
I love it.
Very complex board game.
Sounds complex.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're interested in
amazing.
those channels, go ahead and check them out, and I'll leave links for the description in this video. Well, guys, this was fun. This was really fun. I'm glad we did this. It's better with more people too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Uncle Steve,
Makes
Team
the
Boomer,
strategy different for sure.
appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me. I think 4 is the right number for college football. Yeah.
All right.
It'll be a
Well,
fun season, boys.
those
It's
of
gonna
you,
be a fun season.
it is going to be a fun season. Those of you watching on YouTube, leave a comment. Who do you think drafted the best team? Who made the best pick? Who made the worst pick? If you're a North Carolina fan, let us know how mad you are at us, because we've been
Miami
drafting you
too.
2 years in a row. And Miami. Yeah, there's a lot of teams that I think are probably mad at us, but leave comments, guys. You know we like interacting with you guys in the comments. With that being said, thank you guys for watching or listening. That is Zan, that is Gonzo, that is Uncle Boomer, this is Shoob, the Saturday Scholars, signing out. See y'all later. Have a great day.
Roll, wave, roll, baby.